Welcome back for part 2 of the garden tour here at Cheyenne, Wyoming Urban Gardener. This is Debbie, and this is the containers that I was showing you the back side of as we came out the front door. I've got one sitting here that I'm waiting to put some soil in. We're going to hang that one actually up on the fence that goes along the main section all the way through here down our walkway. So we're going to put up some of those. We've got I think 4 of them through this section. We've got some Greek oregano here that I have replanted. There was some Greek oregano there. It did get killed out at the very beginning of spring when we had a really bad cold snap. It was in the negative temperatures and it did finally get killed out. So I went ahead and replanted it, and we've had 2 of them come up so far. We're going to plant some more seeds in there. Here is the other hanging pots that we did create with some plants that we had picked up, some petunias and violas and pansies and things like that. And I picked up this coleus, was the last one at Menards, and it is blooming actually, and it has several different colors in there, and I think this one's called a limelight, and then the other of course is fuchsia. Then we got some purples in there, and it was just absolutely full hanging basket, but it was wilted when I found it because no one had watered it. It was the last one that was left. So I had them to hit it with some water before I went ahead and purchased it, and it actually turned out to be absolutely beautiful and blooming and everything. So went ahead and brought it home, and we'll probably try to collect some seeds off of it. My dill is all up. Remember, I planted the dill way back in about March, and it is all coming up now. And we did pick up some hibiscus, so we've been saving the flowers off of them when they start to die back, because we're going to make hibiscus sugar and maybe hibiscus tea with those. And then of course I've got my lemon tree out here, which is just loving it now that we've got it out in the sun. I'll have to pull it back in during the cold snap, but you can see it is a lot bigger than it was last season and the seasons before. It is really a tree at this point. We've got the mints out here, the peppermint and spearmint and things like that. We've got some more seeds that are down here of herbs. You can see all the names that we have there that we're trying to get started. And the parsley that I had planted out here and shown you in a previous video a while ago, you can see that it is definitely getting a lot bigger now, with lots of new growth on it. And our thyme is all coming back out. Lemon thyme is on the right, and then left is just regular thyme. That's the marjoram that I had started inside back early winter, and it takes a long time for some marjoram when you get it inside, but it has been loving sitting in the window, so I went ahead and brought it on outside, and it's loving that too. So anyway, we've got that going on. We did plant some lettuces back in here. We've got all kinds of lettuces that are planted in back in this section. You see the 2 little tags right there. And then through here we've got carrots, a rainbow mix here, Danvers there. And then in this hill we have Parisian carrots, and these are giant Parisian carrots. So they are like the Russian variety, with they're really, really large, like large carrots, but short. So we have some of those through here. So we made 2 hills this season, or 2 beds for carrots. So we have definitely extended out growing this season. And through here you can see 3 sticks. This is 3 short rows of Yukon Gold potatoes. So I went ahead and put potatoes over here in this section. This is where I had rutabaga last season. So we have rotated the rutabaga over to here. And then of course we have the colorful beets here and the kale over there. So the kale here, colorful beets here, rutabaga. And then in this section here, the larger section, we will be planting my pumpkin seeds that I usually plant. Actually, I've got pumpkins already up. So I'm going to have pumpkins going into here that I've saved seed off of for 7 seasons in a row. So this will be going into this section, as it always does. It seems to love this area the best. And it is getting dark outside, so I apologize for that. I just had gotten done working in the garden. We have red cabbage that are going from here. You can see red cabbage, red cabbage, red cabbage. So we've got 8 of those going back all the way to the back. And then here we have fairy round Dutch cabbage, and there's, I believe, 10 of those through here. And then here we have broccoli, I believe. So we've got 10 broccoli that go all the way back. And then we've actually got a couple of cabbages there. These are cabbages that I picked up at Menards, and I forget the name of them now, but they are supposed to be a medium-sized cabbage, so they do not get super huge. But the fairy round Dutch will actually get to be a fairly large cabbage head, and it'll be very round. So we have those through there, and then here we have cauliflower and broccoli. So, and I don't remember, I'd have to look at the tag. Okay, this is the actual cauliflower through here. Cauliflower through here, snowball cauliflower. I believe there's 10 of those that go all the way back. And we have broccoli through here. And here we have our celery that we had transplanted out that we had gotten at Menards. It's a little rough for wear because it's adjusting, but you can see some of it is perked up. So, and then we still have those cabbages right there in the back, and I'm sorry that it keeps fuzzing, just trying to focus on my finger, but we have cabbages there in the back, and then the celery down through here, and then there's more celery out through there. And in this section, which I'll have to fix the tag again, is zucchini. So we've got 8 zucchini that go back to here that we planted the seeds. Just went ahead and direct sowed my zucchini and my yellow neck straight neck squash, because it usually doesn't take very long for it to get going. And then you see a dry section through here. So we have a dry section that's probably about 6 feet wide and then goes all the way back. And this is going to be for peppers. We have all of our pepper plants that I'm not going to transplant outside until it is warmer. So we've got all of our peppers that'll go into this section. And here, see, we've gotten a little bit more organized this season. And this section, of course, is the yellow straight neck squash. So we have 8 hills of those that go to the back near the celery. And then behind the celery in that little divot back there is more lettuces. We've got red velvet lettuce back there, as well as it mixed in with some other varieties of gourmet blend lettuce, which is just a variety of everything. And then we have our peas along the trellis. So we've got the bush peas on the left side, and then on the back side we have our Alaska snow peas. So we've got all kinds of, or sorry, no, we did sugar daddies, sugar snap or sugar daddy peas over on the back side, which are a more pole variety of peas. And these are like a super snap. So they're really long. They're supposed to have 13 peas per pod. So we've got all of those through this section. And then, of course, we have a place between the peas before the onions start, because this is all going to be tomatoes that goes all the way out through here. So we should be able to get in about 15 to 20 tomato plants all in this section. And we have, as you remember, so many tomato plants. And we're also going to be putting them in containers too, because we have so many plants. So through here, you can see my onions. They are up very well. And these are the Pentium 2 onions and the Stuttgarter onions that are Amish onions. So we've got about 200 or so in here. And through here we have our beans. You can see one bag there. That is a bush bean that we put through here. And then right beside of it we have pole beans that'll crawl up the trellises. So we have not, if you noticed, put any cucumbers into the garden, because cucumbers are going to be going into containers as they did last season, because they did so much better in containers. And I'll be showing you those containers in a moment. But anyway, we've got the pole beans through here, and they have started coming up. We have half runners through the back section there. Here is the pole beans here. And then, of course, the short bush beans in the back. So right here is the half runners that I'm going to be really proud of, because that's what we grow in the South predominantly, is half runner beans. So we've got half runners through there, and I'm not going to eat all of them, because what I'm going to do is to save some seed off of these, because I only got 25 seed of 25 beans for the half runners. So I'm going to go ahead and save some seeds off of those. And then of course we have the pole beans here in the front, which have already started coming up. You can see some beans here. These are the Japanese yard long beans, or Asian pole beans, whatever you want to call them. So we've got all of those coming up here, and I was surprised that they were the first ones to come up. But we also have some of the bush beans coming up in the back that you can't really see yet, I don't think. But I can see them. There's one there, and then one there, but they are starting to come up. So you can see here that this is a larger section where we'll be able to get in more tomatoes. And I'm actually here in the front part. I may plant my red curry squash right through this section, so just leaving that all to the tomatoes there. We've got some borage here underneath the gutter that's coming down, one on each side, so that way it's going to come up and just kind of split off, kind of cover that gutter up. I thought it would be a cute thing to do. And of course that's my grandson's little garden, and you can see his lettuce is still doing beautifully. His little tomato plant, and he's got a broccoli in there, actually a couple. I put a broccoli and a cauliflower, so you can try both. And then he has all of his carrots coming up, but you can't really see them very well. All kinds of other things in there. And then of course here are my potatoes. I was telling you that my Kennebec potatoes are coming up, and all of them in fact. So we've got Kennebec potatoes just dotting the landscape through here, because they're all coming up. These are a little bit slower in the back because they get more shade, but they will all come up like they did last season. And surprisingly enough, the ones that came up first were the ones that I had saved seed off of last season. So those came up with a vengeance the first thing, and they were little tiny potatoes that I had saved. I did not want to save my big ones, so I saved the little tiny ones, and they had been sprouting inside since back in February, and I was so worried they were just going to dry up to nothing. But they did go ahead and pull it out, and every single one of them, if you can see them through there, are the ones that came up first and the thickest. So they were used to the climate more than the ones that I purchased, because I did not have enough to go all of the rows. So we have 4 rows of Kennebecs through here, which are all coming up now. And we have our shallots, and I ended up with about 23 shallots in here. Not a huge amount, but enough for us, because we don't eat shallots all the time. And then my one lone garlic that survived everything is actually looking really, really good. And I noticed that the scape is now trying to come up, because this is a hardneck variety of music garlic. So looking forward to seeing what this turns out into. And I'm going to save it and then replant it this fall with all of the cloves separated. Got some more borage that we transplanted here, and then some basil in that square container that has all came up. And then we have 5 rows of corn. You can see my poles for my corn here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I did notice that one of my corn has came up, and it's probably way too early because we're supposed to get that cold snap and it may kill it off. So that is the corn and potatoes. And we have another tomato plant over here. This is my yellow pear tomato, and I need to straighten it back up, probably get it staked. Some spinach over here that didn't weather so well through the cold snap that we had previously, and I'll probably need to replant that. Lettuce is looking great in my container here. You can see it's starting to put on some size. And we've got some more herbs planted through here, cilantro and parsley, which is the triple curl parsley. Also some cress. And my radishes are all up over here. You can see all those radishes. A few of them are just about ready to harvest. And we've got another tomato plant here, which is another yellow pear tomato. Cilantro here, or coriander. And then we've got all of these, except for this one, tarragon. And we do have a tarragon down in there that's really small right yet. You can see it right there. And we have some empty containers here that's going to be for cantaloupes, watermelon, and cucumbers all through here. And we will have more. There are more containers that we have not filled yet that'll be coming out here. We have our strawberries over here in this new converted kiddie pool that still haven't put on a whole lot of greenery yet, but they are starting to come out. And then we planted basil all in the middle section here that is actually coming up. It's really hard to see. It's getting dark out here, but it is all coming up, and this actually came from the Dollar Tree. And it was just a roll that you roll out, which you weren't supposed to really roll it out. It's called a rocket. But I did. I unrolled it, and then I laid it flat in there, and then just covered it up with some soil, and all of those are coming up, all of the basil. So that might be a trick for you. Unroll it, and then plant it. And then we're going to get over to the herb section, which we're going into that 16-minute window. Herb section, we've got dill, and we've got savory, and lettuce, rosemary, all kinds of things coming up in here. Of course, we've got our salvia from the last season. Got some rosemary here, and we have some more chamomile planted all in this section, some of which is getting ready to bloom, and mustard. And we have our daylily over here, which is the red one, and it actually has spread now to 13 stalks, so I need to get in there and separate those this season. Elf thyme still coming out like crazy. Oregano is starting to put on leaves. Lavender the same. So anyway, that is the garden tour for this season. I will show you some more with the bushes and things that I had trimmed up last season all along our fencing. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to see notices on new videos as they come out. And we will see you in the next one. And thank you to all of the subscribers that have subscribed to the channel so far. And we look forward to seeing more of you coming on.